praise God that change is coming.
What up, world? Live on that with Mr. Be Great today, Lamar King Sr. Glad y'all tapped in with me. It's another all positive podcast. And Mr. Be Great today has some words of encouragement. And y'all already know, I'm just going to jump right on in. And the topic of discussion of today is, don't be ashamed of your shortcomings. And I really want to go in on this because life is challenging in some instances, right? And we have to do this thing that we call adulthood. We have to balance, we have to become a professional juggler of life. We have to do so many different things. Just think about it for a second. Like as you go throughout your morning and go throughout your day. It can be a trip on all the things we have to encounter. Like just everybody's plate is pretty much full. Everyone has so many different things going on. And I think we want to achieve so many things. We want to do well in so many areas of life that the hard times are so often frowned upon, or the hard times are pointed out and looked at and discussed. You look at the news or the ESPN and the different media outlets that's out here in the world today. They love to point out people's failures. I'm like, if you look at the news, it's all about somewhere where somebody done fucked up. Somebody done went out bad. Somebody done crashed out. And that shit trickles down into the John Q. public. And so when people go through stuff and people find themselves in trying situations and they can't seem to figure out, okay, why is this happening to me? Why am I going through this? And then on top of that, you got the scrutiny from others. You got the and until you've been in a situation where you're the topic of discussion, you probably won't understand. Just think about, some of the celebrities, like people like anybody, Michael Jordan. Them people can't even go to a restaurant. They can't do anything. Their life is under a microscope. And anything you do out of line is pointed out. And again, it trickles down to we do it as well. But the most challenging part about it is we do it to ourselves first. We like to hide the things we've been through and call it strength. We like to bury all the trauma and the things we've endured in life and try to make it seem like it never happened. We want to keep our slate clean. We want to keep our face card clean. We ain't been through we do it. And that is more detrimental to a person than being completely honest with yourself. And don't be so bashful or shameful about anything you've had to endure. You may not be where you want to be in life because of what? Because of what society standards say? Because of what maybe your mother them or your family has to say? Because where is your measuring level? What's the guide that you're using to say you're not where you're supposed to be in life? What guide are you using? And I think that's why we use our failures as things that we need to suppress and hide and run away from, and glorify everything, make a highlight reel of our life and tell ourselves this fairy tale story When in actuality, we got some things that we've been through. We got some things that we've overcome, and some things we're still dealing with. But you know, the life that we live in 2023 is social media driven. Everything is media driven. Everything. The markets, everything is that internet. The internet runs the world now. You're on the sound of my voice because of the internet. It's made the world that much smaller. And it made us that much more ashamed of the things that we've had to encounter and overcome, and made us who we are. And when things do continue to come, because they are, when problems continue to occur, because they are, we go back and try to suppress but guess what? Life is a cyclic event. Ups and downs, hills and valleys. And you got to have an even keel throughout it all and be proud of what you go through. I heard a young man say, here's a clip, I'm gonna let you hear the clip. Here go the clip.
Real hurdles are just, I've been evicted like fucking 7 times.
Wow.
Like a bunch of repos. I got a criminal record that, you know what I mean, I'm working on trying to expunge or seal, and just, you know what I mean? So these are all hurdles that present themselves. So I don't want y'all to think y'all ain't supposed to go through shit. I fucked my credit up multiple times. People think life is just over. Nah, you just gotta get, prime example. Let's look at a push-up, right? When you get down on the ground right now and you do a push-up, it don't matter how many times you go down. It don't count till you come back up. It don't count. When you go down, it don't count. When you come back up. So when you think about getting knocked down in life, look at that shit like a push-up. It don't count till you get back up.
Exactly. Until it doesn't count until you come up. We gotta go through the life of a push-up. It's gonna be times, but it doesn't count till you come up. You have to bounce back. It's inevitable. It's inevitable for you to bounce back. But the thing about it is, don't be made feel less of because you had to go through some stuff, because you had to deal with some bullshit. But that doesn't mean that that's what life is about for the rest of your life. Life, again, it's hills and valleys, it's ups and downs. Don't let the low points of life determine your mindset of today. Because you're gonna come back from this. I promise you, you're gonna make it out of this situation that you may be in. And even when the things are going great, you gotta prepare for those low moments, because they're coming back. And that's why you can't be afraid of them. You can't be ashamed of them. You can't deny that they exist. And when we get into the habit of just wanting to have a highlight reel life, we want to have everything on a clean slate. We sometimes hinder ourselves from true growth because you got some stuff fueling and boiling and rumbling in the background. In that moment's notice, if the shit hit the fan, all of it can just blow up on you. All of it can come back and haunt you because you're not being real with yourself and being honest about what has shaped and molded you in life. And more times than not, it's those hard times, those low moments, those times when you really didn't understand what was going on. But don't be ashamed of them. Don't be bashful of the things that you've had to endure, the things you've had to surpass. And it's a great feeding, a fuel to the fire of your existence in life, because the things that we deal with is what makes us. That's the whole essence of who we are. The good times are easy. That's easy to do. When you got when you got plenty of money in the bank, you know, you got everything going good. Everything is on fleek, as they would say. Everything is going gravy. It's easy to have a good mindset. It's easy to have a good attitude. It's easy to smile and say, hey, when you got your hair cut and you got your hair did and you're looking good and you're feeling good. Now, it's easy. Well, but when things getting rough, when you lose that family member that you thought you couldn't, you feel like you can't live without. You know, when a relationship comes and just you thought you was gonna be in forever and it ends, right? You lose your child to a situation in the streets, and you know you doing your job, and you know you put in the time and the effort, and you lost them to the street elements of life. Just as an example, just think about those things that we have to deal with, and then we try to hide them, and then we also self sabotage with it. We beat ourselves up in silence. And I challenge you to be honest about what you've been through and what you've endured. Whatever you have to do, whatever mechanism, whatever tool you have to use, whether it be journaling, whether it be talking to a therapist, whatever it takes for you to do, to get to acknowledge what you've been through, to acknowledge what you've overcome, to acknowledge the person that you are today. You're a phenomenal person because of the things you've endured. You're a phenomenal person because of the things you've surpassed and the things that you thought you wouldn't. At times you thought you wasn't gonna make it. But we sometimes we try to hide it, and then we only use it when we're trying to shoot down ourselves or shoot down someone else. We're so quick to point out someone's flaws or point out someone's failures or some things that you probably, I wouldn't have did that. But hey, man, everybody's life is different. Everybody walk to a different path. And it's all about the destination. That's the main thing. The journey is the journey. The grind is the grind. The things that we have to deal with, the things we have to do in life, that's it. That's a part of life, right? But you got to have a consistent mindset of that. I've got myself this far. I know I can get myself further. Just and that's the thing about understanding that your low moments in life and the valleys and the things you've had to endure, the hard times that you've had to come out of. You have to continue to have that in the back of your mind. You have to continue to use that as fuel to fire of your life. You still have to acknowledge it and not say that, because we'll bury stuff so far and we'll forget that it happened. Our mind is just that complex. But that subconscious mind never forgets. It's a tape recorder. It picks up anything that's ever happened to you, any triggers in your life. And that's why you have to acknowledge it. That's why you have to understand that you are a phenomenal person that has came from a very long way. And don't continue to use the shortcomings as corporal punishment to who you are. Things may not be as you like them to be. Things may not be on the up and up. But today you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to look back on the things you've surpassed and build on the things you want today. It takes one foot in front of the other. Have enough confidence and belief in yourself that if the stuff if it didn't kill you, what they say, it made you stronger. But don't try to bury it like it's a bad thing or it's scars on you or it's F's on your report card of life. Because at the end of the day, you made it here today. You made it under the sound of my voice today. So who's to say you can't change your trajectory right now by using those life experiences that you've dealt with? It's a beautiful thing to see a person just come get it out the mud, as they say. There's so many people that I look on my news feed and I look on my timeline and I see so many people doing so many great things in life. But those people had to go through some stuff, y'all. Those people had to go through some real deal stuff. Even the people you see on the TV, the athletes, the celebrities, the actors, all this stuff, the actresses, they had to go through a lot of stuff just to get there. So just imagine on your scale of life, you got to step into who you are. Acknowledge who you are. And don't be ashamed or bashful of the things that you've had to deal with or your family's had to deal with. It can be challenging trying to live up to the expectations of society standards when you're using that guide of what they've taught us all our lives, that we should be doing this by this age, we should be doing this by that age, we should have this, we should have that. That means nothing when it comes down to the identity of the person, to the identity of who you are. The identity of who you are is the triumphs of life that you have experienced. That's who you are. The person you've gotten here today to Valentine's Day 2023, and you and regardless of the situation, regardless of what everything that tried to take you out, everything that you've been through, everything that's come up against you, you've surpassed it. And guess what? There's some more challenges coming your way as well. But you got to use those same talents that's gotten you this far in life. And you've done a great job for the most part. We go through things. We have our challenges. We have our hard times. And if you think you're not going to have any, you keep on having them birthdays, like my grandmother would say. But look what you've gotten to. Look at you today. Reflect back and see where you were 10 years ago, and look at you today. Things have changed. Some more drastically for others than some, right? But things have changed in some capacity. And you continue to overcome. You continue to pull yourself up. You continue to grind. You continue to climb. And your shortcomings are the main factors that has made you into the person you are today. The times you thought it's many times you thought you weren't gonna make it, but here you are. And I challenge you to continue to use that same fortitude, that same tenacity, that same get up and go grind that you've used to get you here today. I challenge you to continue to kick it in overdrive now. It's time to use those experiences where now you can turn those corners on two wheels. Now you can understand that you've been through the pits of hell. You've been through situations that you probably shouldn't have made it out of, but you're here today. So let's kick it up on the high side and really push ourselves to the next level this year. Because I know the things that should have took me out. The things that should have made me lose my damn mind. If it didn't get me then, it's too late now. You can't get me now, because now I'm sharper. Now I can acknowledge it. Now I can see the bullshit before it comes. Because guess what? We know it's coming, right? And that's how you are. That's why you're more seasoned in life now, because of the things you've had to go through. You're more experienced on how to deal with situations. You know how to diffuse situations instead of turning up like you would used to. I seen a girl post the other day say, back in the day she would have been, and that's how it be. We've grown so much, and because we know the things, we know that we can make a bad situation worse, and there's no better way to make a bad situation better to understand that, hey, it's okay. Just like my man said, you got the push-up don't count till you come up. You got to go down. You got to have some type of setback. Even I watch the stock market now. The stock market got to retrace itself at some time. Goes up, comes down. Goes up, comes down. Same thing. They hook that EKG up to you, that heartbeat monitor. Up, down, up, down. That's life. But I'm not gonna make a bad situation worse by pointing out my flaws and using them against myself, or pointing out someone else's flaws, or pointing out someone else's shortcomings. No, it's not about that. It's about using those shortcomings like, yep, I went through that. I sure did. Now look at me today. I done passed that. That's what it's about. That's what life is about. Everyone has a success story. Everyone has triumph over something. But I really want someone to understand that I know we all, deal with shit. I know we all, go through different situations. But hey, man, I'm not gonna tear myself down and beat myself down because of it. I'm gonna put it out. Me personally, I'm gonna identify with myself first. I'm gonna identify the things that I did wrong and the things I because I'm gonna remind myself so I don't act like it never happened. Because when you start acting like things that the bad things in your life never happened, you forget, so-called forget where you came from, or forget what you've been through. You'll repeat those same things over, right? I think it's a saying that says a man that doesn't know his history, what is it? History repeats itself, or something to that effect. If you don't know your history, it's bound to repeat itself. So if you don't know what you've been through, if you don't identify the things that you've overcame and the things that you definitely don't want to go back through again, Because we'll try to act like it never happened. We'll try to act like, oh, that wasn't nothing. That wasn't nothing. That was something. That was something. That breakup, that shit was something to you. That death of that loved one, it's hard to walk around and still hurt, and you gotta smile every day. It's hard. It's hard when you I'm serious, especially when you're talking about losing loved ones. You're walking around with a broken heart, but you gotta smile like everything's okay. And people do it for years. But yet and still, but that's why it's important to put it. You gotta talk about it. You gotta write it down. You can't be ashamed of the things you've had to deal with. The more you talk about it, the better it is. The more you acknowledge it to yourself that you dealt with that. Look how traumatizing that was. You know. And this is truly for the people who have lost their mother. You know. Or father. I'm blessed to have both my parents still alive today. And to even the thought of me not having, either of them, my mind can't even take me. I can't even go to that place. And of course, I got friends, I got family, my father-in-law. I got people who've lost their parents, and that's something I can't even really speak on. But at the same time, we know we got to go through that one day. But suppressing it and not talking about it, not dealing with it. Sometimes you can walk around and just go on, go back to work, come off leave, go back to work, and you still trying to deal with that. You still trying to deal with that in life. And acting like it didn't happen, or putting it so deep back in the closet that you don't really talk about it. You don't really express yourself about the situation. That it can fester. And that's with anything in life. That's just like, even like when the AA meetings, that's why they get up and talk about their addiction. Because they have to. They got to remind themselves of how fucked up they was. They got to tell, and that's real talk. They got to remind themselves of the lowest lows of where they were in life. They got to remind themselves of where they don't want to go. And it seems crazy. People say, "Oh, why you keep talking about the past?" But that's the only way you're gonna we get it out. That's the only way you're gonna relieve it and make it seem normal again. Because if you hide it and then when it comes up, it feels so awkward, right? Again, that's why AA meetings, they get up and they talk about their addiction. They talk about the things that they've done. They talk about their triggers, what makes them want to go back and have another drink. Why? Because they're not ashamed. They're not ashamed of their shortcomings. That's how they keep going from month to month in sobriety. Because they put their shortcomings out in front of everybody, in a group of strangers, people they don't even know sometimes. Because they know their stories and their triumphs is going to help probably the next person. And that's what I'm trying to get across to my listeners today, that you can't be afraid of the things that you've been through. You can't be bashful and like your life is perfect. I understand we want to put that highlight reel on Instagram. I know we want to put that, that highlight reel on Snapchat. I get it. Because that's the society we live in. But I'm here to tell you, you got to get like that AA meeting. You got to find some type of outlet to acknowledge the things you've been through and be proud of it. I tell you what, go sit in the AA meeting and listen to some of them stories that the people have to tell you. Listen to how they express themselves and about the lowest moments of their life when they were drinking and out, doing this. And some of them have been sober for 20 years and they still telling you them stories that they've overcome that made them say, oh, all right, I'm through, I'm done. And they had to be just think about it. And that's the same reason for the show today is don't be afraid of what you've been through. Don't be so quick to point out what someone else is going through. I don't care who it may be. It can be a celebrity. It can be your neighbor. It can be your neck. You know what I mean? Anybody. Anybody up the ladder. Who cares? Those shortcomings is going to make that person a better person eventually one day. Some more strenuous than others, but at the end of the day, we all got to go through it. And we can't act like we don't. And that's all I got for y'all today, man. I hope y'all really enjoyed the show today. I hope y'all got something out of it. And I hope you understand that we all have shortcomings. We all have low moments in life. We all have to go through those valley moments. But don't be afraid of them. Don't be ashamed of them. Be proud of them in all instances. Be proud of them. Be glad that you came up out of that. Be glad that you're here today. Be glad you understand that you know what I mean. You made it here today. And that's the biggest essence of it. That's the biggest thing about it. Because you got to understand that you're going to go through some more trying times. You're going to have some more challenges in front of you. But if you still hiding the ones of old, you trying to act like they don't exist, they'll rear his head, and then you won't know how to because when you repeat it, then you know how to deal with it. Just like at that AA meeting. They talk about their trigger moments. That's why they tell those stories, because they know that those are the moments that are going to trigger them to go back and fall back in that same suit again. And that's why you got to be honest with yourself to understand that you don't want to fall back in that suit again. By being honest and being upfront about what you've been through, and it happened. And it's a part of you. And your subconscious mind, again, it's a tape recorder. It didn't forget. And that trigger will trigger you back to the same behavior that you once did. The same stuff that got you in that situation last time. You'll find yourself back in it if you're not honest and upfront about what's going on. All right? So y'all make sure y'all go check me out. Mr. Be Great Today on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. Great Today INC on IG. And On Air with Mr. Be Great Today on Facebook. I love you all. And you already know. Be great today. Peace.
Production. I love you, Poppy.